Oh, welcome to the Sharpe Way Show. So happy to have you with me this evening. It's a little bit past 8 p.m. on the East Coast. I know I'm a little bit late tonight. Mondays, I'm often late. Sometimes I have a lot of stuff I'm trying to catch up with. And boy, did I have a lot to handle today. But that's okay. You don't care about that. You just care that I'm here. And I am here. And there was something I wanted to bring up that I thought was really odd. It follows a bunch of things that I've been talking about in general. It does. It follows a lot of things I've been chatting about. The way what Trump has been doing, how he's been acting, and all those things combined, and some of the stuff he's been saying. And does he really mean it? Does he kind of mean it? Is it really a thing? Is it not? I'm not sure it is or isn't. But it's things that people weren't talking about before. And the thing he brought up recently, this came up here. I just saw it on Breaking Points, believe it or not, is where I initially saw it. Is a couple of things he said regarding defense. The idea of cutting defense by 50%. The idea of getting rid of nuclear weapons. Not for like Iran. I mean, obviously he's been talking about that forever. But I mean, like with China and Russia and such, these types of things. Now, do I think he'll do it? I mean, maybe. I mean, who knows? But the point is, this is stuff that he's actually talking about. It's stuff a lot of people have been talking about. And now it's actually coming out. It actually brings two people together who are clearly left and right to talk about the idea of cutting back on defense spending. This is a clip from Breaking Points, and I'll show it to you. And this is the left and the right, right? The right represented by Sagar, and the left by the other guy. I forgot his name. You'll see it. Anyway, the other guy from Drop Site News. He's the left, and those two guys together are talking about this. And Ryan Grimm, there we go. Thank you. Yes, that's his name. And they're talking about it, and they give a couple clips. So watch the clips, and you'll see what I mean. And we can chat about it afterwards. You'll just see. That's what I'll say. I'll just say you'll just see. All right.
Something very close to Ryan and I's heart was an off-the-cuff remark by Donald Trump where neither of us really believe it's true, but we would like for this to be true. Let's take a listen.
We have the greatest military equipment in the world. We're building it. At some point, when things settle down, I'm going to meet with China. And I'm going to meet with Russia in particular, those two. And I'm going to say, there's no reason for us to be spending almost $1 trillion on military. There's no reason for you to be spending $400 billion. China's going to be at $400 billion.
Think about that. We drop $1 trillion on military. That's not defense. You can think it's defense. It's not defense. No country on the planet to defend itself requires $1 trillion. Not required. That's a choice we're making. That's for sure. The next thing is we have two oceans that help defend us, and our borders are filled with allies. We do not need $1 trillion. I'm not saying make it zero. Not what I'm saying. I'm not saying, no, but not $1 trillion. He's right. I've been saying this for years. Libertarians have been saying this for years, and here we go.
$1 trillion. We're going to be at close to $1 trillion. And I'm going to say we can settle this we can spend this on other things. We don't have to spend this on military and I'm going to be meeting with China. We were trying to de-escalate nuclear, and I was in a position where Russia had agreed and China had agreed we were going to start. And then we had a rigged election, so that never took place.
Had to bring up the election, didn't he? You could stop with the election already. Let it go. You've won. You don't got to keep nudging us. Let it go. God, let it go, homeboy.
But this one was too big to rig. We won by so much that it was too big to rig.
That President Putin really liked the idea of cutting way back on nuclear. And I think the rest of the world, we would have gotten them to follow. And China would have come along too. China also liked it. Tremendous amounts of money are being spent on nuclear. And
I would, and to be very forward, I'll tell you my plans for the military in general, but conceptually, understand something. We don't need all of these nuclear weapons. No matter what you might think about nuclear weapons, this amount that we all have, unnecessary, right? Whatever you might think on nuclear weapons, for sure you can't be like, no, we need more.
Destructive capability is something that we don't even want to talk about today because you don't want to hear it. It's too depressing. So we want to see if we can denuclearize, and I think that's very possible.
So, Ryan, is this the most radical proposal since what? Since Richard Nixon or prior to that? I'm trying to think. Maybe the Kennedy administration, the START treaties, the nuclear treaties. This is definitely in that vein. Now, obviously, there's not a single. Is there maybe one lawmaker in Washington, maybe
That's
two or three, who?
He's going to immediately bring up the thing that I am concerned about, which I love the concept. I do. I love the concept. The talk is wonderful. But here's the reality. The military-industrial complex is huge. I'm going to cover this in a second, but he's going to bring it up right away.
To go along with this, but
like Bernie,
all 532 other members definitely going to be against this. So again,
Bernie, as long as you don't go after whatever they're making in Vermont.
That's right. As long as you're not touching whatever is made in Vermont, he says. Well, we don't have to spend this on other things. We can lower our defense spending all around, and then we won't have to spend it on the military. It's a nice.
There we go. It's a nice idea, and I'm going to bring up a couple things if I could on this one. All right. First off, I'm actually very happy he said it. I am. I'm happy he openly said it and didn't just say it once, but said it more times. And I think he's actually talking about it. Now, will he do it? I don't know. To be fair, I don't know. I hope he would. That would be amazing, right? It's like Elon's going to cut $2 trillion off of the budget. That'd be amazing, right? But I'll take $500 billion. If he could actually slash defense budget, okay. Look, 50% is a lot. It would be amazing. Let me walk down this road a couple things. First, the first piece I want to bring up is the idea of what we do with the military-industrial complex. I'm sorry. First one is what we should have, and the second is the military-industrial complex. What we should have. We do need a military. Of course we do. Now, you might go, Larry, why do you have to say that? Because I do have libertarians in this audience, and I'm sure some of them who will be like, who cares? Military's dumb, blah, blah. I know there are libertarians who believe that. I'm not one of them, right? I think we do require military. I would love a world where we would not require one. That would be an amazing, great place to live in. We don't live there, right? Just being very clear, we need one. Do we need the military we have now? Not even close. Not even close. And we're seeing it already. We're seeing already with our Marine Corps being cut back. We're seeing it already happen. We do not require as much as at all. What we require is several things. We require, as a military, we require nuclear weapons. Of course we do. But we could cut our military, we could cut our nuclear weapons, I'm not joking, by 2/3 and still be fine. I'm not joking. We could cut it by 2/3. Mike brings up a point. He says we need to replace our nuclear arsenal as much as it's outdated and thus far less of a deterrent. I'm not saying far less because we have so many of them, right? So to your point, Mike, if we don't update, we require more of them because we do know that many of them will fail. Some of you may not know that. Mike and I are military. If you've been in the military, I've actually dealt with that realm, I will say, of weaponry in the past, as far as I can say. And he is correct. If it gets old and outdated, it may fail. Systems may fail. The people may fail. The weapon system themselves may fail. So you require more of them if they're outdated. The French recently have updated, which people didn't like. I understood it. I'm with Mike. I understood it, but I don't like it. Of course I don't like it because it gets more people who want to do it. But I get it. I get it. So if we were to update our arsenal, we could cut it by 2/3. I'm not joking. We could literally have it. We could, if we update it to the maximum that we have now, we probably cut it by 75%. If we were to update, to Mike's point, if we updated, we could probably go down by 75%. We probably could. Which means, of course, less maintenance, less storage, less everything. So we do want to have it, but a much smaller, compact nuclear arsenal, number one. And in fact, I would say, I go as far as this, I would say we have what's called the nuclear triad, for those who don't know what that means. That's the 3 types of nuclear weapons that we have. Nuclear submarines, bombers, and the ICBMs. We can dump the bombers completely. Not required. Get rid of them completely. Do not need them at all. Get rid of them completely. I know people say, what? That's crazy. I don't think it's required at all, particularly in today's world with drones and satellites. I don't think the bombers are required at all. You do supersonic, which I think is one of the things that he's probably talking about. I assume that Mike's talking about that also. You do supersonic if at all possible, and subs. You're good. That's the nuclear arsenal. Don't need any more. Next thing we got to focus on is, without question, our special forces. We have some of the best in the world. We lost a lot of them because of the stupid lockdowns and the jab, stick stuff, the Fauci ouchie. But best in the world, best trained in the world. That is obviously true. More and more of them. A whole lot of special forces. Tons of them. People who can go in and come out. A lot of our enemies, in many cases, aren't states. They're groups. And these special forces, they're the best at going in and taking care of the groups. So that's the second piece we got to focus on heavily. And the last one is cyber. We got to focus on cyber. Like there's no tomorrow whatsoever. Cyber. And we are not that good at that one. We have tons of the nuclear arsenal, lots of them. We aren't as up to this as we should be. We are really good at special forces, some of the best in the world. So that we could work on and get more of them. And maybe, to Daniel's point, Daniel brings up the idea of also drones. Those, in my views, those go hand in hand, but to be specified, yes, I think we could get better at that, but we're already very good at that. That's that we're like almost top of our game. We're very good at that. We could add the drone part, which we're learning now from Ukraine and Russia, push that piece forward. And then lastly, spend time on cyber like there's no tomorrow cyber. And we are not as good at cyber as we could be. We're not. We could get better at that. The Chinese are really good at cyber. We're good, but we aren't as good as we could be. We have to work on that. Those are three big ones. The rest is all optional. Lara, you don't want to have massive tank armies? Nope. Now, a fourth piece, which I use as military, but also, believe it or not, as commercial. And that is, we do have to have a very powerful Navy that can guard the sea lanes. Gotta guard the sea lanes, right? And you might go, but Larry, shouldn't the rest of the world? The rest of the world should. I would agree with that. Yes, they should, but they physically cannot. They just don't have the ability to do so. So it's us for now. If we in the future want to make some kind of deal where other countries help or something, fine, not against any of that. But at this moment in time, there is no Navy on the planet that can do it besides ours. It does not exist. It does not exist. Again, if at one point we wanted to, I'm okay with that concept. If someone wants them, it's fine. But that's for the future. For now, it is us and us only. That piece is critical. We do that, we could cut our budget easily by 50%. Easily 50%. And still be completely safe, still be able to attack our enemies, which will usually not be states, but will be groups in any way. Threaten people if we want to anyway, which we already can do. Defend ourselves with the insurance of a nuclear weapon. Guard the sea lanes, 50% done. Now, what's the problem with that? The problem with that is the military-industrial complex. That's the point that Saga brought up immediately. The military-industrial complex is a huge job builder in America. About 50% of all of America's manufacturing, not our economy, just our manufacturing. About 50% of our manufacturing is somehow linked to the military-industrial complex. About 10% or so is actually like weapon systems and such. The other 40% is other things linked to the military-industrial complex. In many cases, I bring it up all the time, here in New York State, it's the number one reason why we have new jobs. Our economy, since the lockdowns, here is the problem that people aren't seeing, and this is why this is all connected, and why I brought this up, because it is connected. Since the lockdowns, our economy has struggled tremendously. Why? After the 2009 crash, the only real recovery was in cities. From 2009 to around 2020 something, probably to the lockdowns, 80% of all new jobs came out of 20 US cities. That's it. That's where the recovery came. People flocked to cities because that's where the opportunity was, right? Now, as that's happening, we're also trying to figure out, as a culture, that is, some people figured out very early, but as a culture, trying to figure out, how's this AI thing working? How's this work from home thing working? How's this Zoom? How are we going to integrate this? What's this? What's going on here is what we were doing at that time. Lockdowns come, government goes, figure it out right now. Do it now. Go home, be Zoom, do it all. Boom, that begins to happen. When that happens, we, as a society, as some people figured out, but as a society, people are like, I don't know. What do we do now? We still don't know. Our economy hasn't figured out how to grow on its own. I'm not joking. Our economy hasn't figured out how to grow right now. Right? You probably saw that recent thing where the CEO's mad. He's saying we're all going back into the offices. I don't care why. We're going back into the offices. Is he right? I don't know. Here's what I know. Most people don't know. He knows that's how we do it. How are we going to groom the next leaders of our industry if they're not in an office? They don't know. I'm not saying it cannot be done. Maybe it can be done. What I'm saying is we don't know if it can be done. And so we're just acting like everyone's going to go back in the office, or everyone has to do so-and-so, or no one should go in the office. We don't know if it can be done. Now, what was happening prior to the lockdowns is the Googles of the world and the Amazons of the world back then were actually figuring it out on their own. They were doing some form of bring people in, leave them out, have them come in. They were figuring it out. Lockdown said, no, now. That was a disaster for us, and we're still paying the price now. At least half the jobs you see right now out on like LinkedIn or whatever, they're not real. I'm not making that up. They're not real. It's not real at all. They're just screwing everything up, making everything bad, making people unhappy. The consumer confidence is the worst it's been in decades, and people don't believe they can find good jobs. They don't think good jobs are out there. They don't trust the economy. They have no idea. They don't know what to do. What does that mean? Most of the people right now, growth we're having in most states only comes from government investment. Even our wealthy people. Why do you think all the billionaires, so many of them, not all, but so many of them have rushed to live outside or have homes outside of DC? Why do you think they're all kissing Trump's butt? Because they know there are massive ways of growth all come from government. Yes. Amazon got huge. Why? Because government locked everything down and made Amazon huge. Elon Musk huge. Why? Government contracts. Yes. I'm not making this up. That's how it works. And they get it. So now you're going to say, we're going to cut the military-industrial complex. Okay. Love the idea. You know I love the idea. How do you implement that? When you got a bunch of state governments that don't know how to grow and can't grow on their own and require the military-industrial complex to push their manufacturing because they know how to do it. They're terrible at it. They have no clue. And not just, that's every state. That's every state. Not just that. Most people don't know that GDP, which is so big. GDP, when you calculate it, part of it is government spending. Yeah, I know, insanely stupid. That should not be a thing. It is though. So the government spends, that makes you have a big GDP. So my GDP is small. Spend my money. You have a bigger GDP. That's how that works. Well, what are you going to spend money on? I don't know, making jobs. Yes. Yes. So how are you going to do that? How are you going to fix that part if all of a sudden we drop all that spending on defense? All that spending on defense is creating more fake GDP. Not an easy thing to do. So again, I agree with the idea. I love the concept completely. I hope we do. How? I've told you my plan. And people get it. It's not libertarian. It's not libertarian. Because if they keep going on this, I didn't show this part, but they later say that actually someone who tried to do that was Kennedy. And right after he talked about it, he found himself gone, deleted. I've said this more than once. If you actually tried to do this, if you actually did, you would find yourself deleted. So how do you get around that? That was my whole point. You have to somehow give these military complex companies, the Halliburtons of the world, right? And the others of the world, right? You've got to give them monopolistic benefits in some other part of the world. What? Yes. These guys don't know how to compete. They don't compete. What they know how to do is buy congressmen. They're really good at that. So they buy congressmen the congressmen say yes, or senators, not just senators, whatever. They buy senators and such. They buy them, and then once they're done buying them, they get their very expensive contracts like a monopoly. That's what they do well. They're good at that. That's their skill set. Well, now you go. We're going to stop the industrial complex. Go compete. They're not going to do that. They can't compete. They've done that in decades. They don't know how to compete. Halliburton doesn't compete. It buys senators. That's what it does. It doesn't compete. It has no idea how to do that. There's no to sell without a monopoly. It can't do that. These are trillions. He said $1 trillion. $1 trillion? That's a lot of money. People get disappeared for that. We know. People get disappeared for that. They all of a sudden find themselves 6 feet under. That's what happens all of a sudden. So you got to find a way to fix that, right? Matt says, Matt, screw them. Yeah, until they literally put you underground, Matt. Then it's not screw them, it's screw you, right? He goes on to say, boo-hoo, military, until they put you and or your family underground. They will do that. You've seen it happen more than once, not just in America, other countries. That's how that works. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm agreeing with your sentiment, but I'm being realistic. They will put you underground and or your family and friends. So you don't get to go boo-hoo. You don't get to tell them, screw them. No. They screw you. And it doesn't matter how powerful you are. It's irrelevant. It's $1 trillion. I know I'm smart and good looking, Matt, but not $1 trillion worth of either of those things. They will take care of me in 5 seconds. So we got to do something like, as I brought up in the past. If you're going to end this military industrial complex, if you're going to do that, okay. You then immediately say, got it, we're going to end it, and we're also going to end all of our sanctions. We're going to end all our sanctions in North Korea, all our sanctions in Cuba, all our sanctions in Iran, all our sanctions. And with all little sanctions that we are going to end immediately, we're going to give each of these military industrial complex countries, all of them, get a certain number of years as a monopoly. I'm not joking. So whatever, in Cuba, Halliburton gets X years. So-and-so's gets. Give them monopoly for like 5 years, whatever the number is, so they can learn, so they can figure out how to do it, so they know in advance. Because the thing about the military industrial complex, people think that they're evil. They're not. They're just apathetic. They just don't care. They don't want people to die. They just don't care if they die. They don't want their bombs to blow people up. They just don't care if they do. Buy the bombs. Put them in a bunker somewhere and leave them. They don't ever use them. They don't care. Just buy the bombs, right? And keep buying the bombs. If they become old and decrepit and you throw them out and buy new ones, good. Or use them and bomb people, good. Just keep buying the bombs. Well, you have to sell bombs. Just sell expensive stuff as a monopoly. That's what you want. So whatever, sell trucks into Cuba or whatever Cubans want. I don't know if Cubans want trucks, whatever. Or whatever, sell dishwashers into North Korea or whatever North Koreans want. Do that. Sell the big stuff into there. Do it at a monopoly. Make your money. You don't care. Figure it out. That is what I think is the only answer I can imagine. Otherwise, this entire concept is never going to happen. There is just too much money, too much power in the military industrial complex for that to happen. That is my view. I've been saying it all left and right because I do think it's true. I can't imagine any other way for this to actually work. I just can't imagine, even though I do love the concept of it completely. So let me grab a couple comments here. Good. Then I'm going to grab a couple more points. Something else that Trump said. I'm going to give some advice to the Democrats. I am. Yes, I am going to do that. So Joel says, cut the waste and defense spending will be a great thing. Yes. Agreed. I mean, I'm for it. I'm not against it. I'm just saying I'm being realistic on how this works. This is a massive moneymaker. It is a massive job. It's a massive job creator. So yeah, it's jobs program. Absolutely. So Kim says, I don't know if he will cut by 50%, but I'll take what he can cut. Yes, Kim. Yes. Kim is correct. Thank you for being a member, Kim, by the way. Yes. Sarah, thank you for the $4.99. I've missed the Sharpies. Sarah, we have missed you too. I know you've been busy. I am glad you're back. And we are yapping all over again. For those of you who see that, if you want to get your chat right to the front, you can do what she did, and it's called the Super Chat. If you are on YouTube, please super chat me. If you are on Rumble, you can rant me if you like. Either one of those two, they go right to the front. I try to grab them as fast as I can. I also spend time talking to our members. You can become a YouTube member. It's $49 per month. Click that join button. It's very good. Or remember on Rumble, if you like, you can do that by clicking subscribe for Rumble only during the live. I don't know why Rumble does that, but that's why Rumble does it. So if you are on Rumble, you can rant me on Rumble, or you can hit subscribe during the live. Regardless, though, you can just subscribe on YouTube. Follow me on Facebook, X, and Rumble, all of those if you want to. If you have not reposted, why? Do you love the military-industrial complex that much that you won't share this or repost this someplace? What's wrong with you? Come on now. And the easiest part is to elbow smash the button known as Lima, India, Kilo, Echo. Do that. Don't break your phone now, but caress it, whatever. Hit it, touch it, whatever. You do you. Do you. Just as long as that button is pressed in some way, shape, or form. And that, because when you do that, the guy who controls everything, Mr. Rhythm, his first name is Al, his middle name is Gore, like the president Al Gore. His last name is Rhythm. That guy controls all these things. And he loves when you press that button known as Lima, India, Kilo, Echo. He loves it. It makes him very happy. And he shares it around. That's what he does. So help me out. It's free. Please do that. I would really appreciate it. All righty. Let me grab some more of these comments if I could. All righty. Phil, thank you for being a member. Says, without a large government, who would build a Death Star? Valid point. Valid point. I mean, if we want a Death Star built, I mean, I guess Elon might build it. I don't know why, but we have to figure out a way. If he could somehow scam. Oh, yeah, he hate the scam government for it too. No, you're right. It's got to be the government. Point taken. You are right, Phil. Mike Voss says, not as energized about defense spending cuts. Maybe a little is okay to remove waste and corruption. I know you're okay with a much larger military expenditure. I'm not. I would love 50%. I would love it if we can get it. I mean, I don't know if we could, but I would love it. That would be amazing. I hope that it will work. Phil's teasing and saying that Trump got triggered. He did get triggered. He did. He really does bring up that election stuff. I'm like, homeboy, enough. You won, dude. Let it go. Now I get triggered too. Don't get me wrong, but when I get I recognize when I get triggered, and I try to not get triggered. And if I recognize it, I try to get out. He is like, no, double down. I'm like, dude, you won. Just let it go. He doesn't want to let it go, though. He's really about that election still. Anyways, it's done. It is. So, Andrea, thank you for being a member. She says only dollars that should be spent on nuclear is on nuclear power plants. Yes, Andrea. Yes. I agree completely. I would love if that was the rule. Yeah, I'll take it. We'll deal with it. Yes, absolutely. Phil goes on to say, uranium out of bombs into electricity. Yes. Yep. Daniel says we could use the money to build better roads. That makes everybody happy. People love my roads, right, Daniel? You're right. Let's build my roads. Let's do it. I agree. We could stop dropping bombs and build my roads. I love it. Absolutely. I'm looking over at Rumble. Joel says, if we stop spending on regime changes, we won't need as big a military. Also true. That is my point. They call it defense spending, Joel. That's a lie. It's not defense spending. It's offense spending. That's what it is. On an offense. On the offense, as the Canadians say when it comes to hockey. When I used to watch hockey games, they say, give me the defense and the offense. That's offense. That's not defense. Yes. Straight End says, Tin Whiskers probably killed some of these nuclear weapons already. Huh? Not sure where that was going. You have to help me on that one, Straight End. Not sure where that one was going. So, all right, I'm looking now over at Instagram, and John Galt is speaking. He says, Larry, thought on U.S. narco-terrorism operations to disrupt the cartels in Mexico, constitutionally or sovereignty concerns. I don't like it at all. However, I'm going to do a however. Here's my however, John Galt. I thought it was going to be worse. At least the Mexicans have agreed. So it's not as bad as I thought it would be. I thought it was going to be like, we just decide to bomb people. That's what I thought was going to happen. So I guess it's relatively not as bad, is what I would say. I don't like the idea of us doing it. I don't like us starting more wars, cartel fights. I don't like any of that. But it was going to happen, if that makes any sense. I'm trying to be realistic. It was going to happen. My worry was it was going to be just, we decide to bomb Mexicans as we see fit. At least they're saying yes. So I guess not as bad is my response. I know it's not a great response, but maybe it's not as bad. Ryan, thank you for $2. My roads, see? We got the roads covered. That's all that matters. So, Rhetoric here, member on YouTube. Brother, good seeing you again. It's been a while. I may have to get the band back together coming up here soon, so maybe I'll be giving you a call. But yes, thank you so much for becoming a member. I do appreciate that tremendously, 100%. So, all righty. Let's see if I can go down this road here for a couple more. Margaret, how are you? Margaret says, we should spend money rebuilding our infrastructure. That's what China's doing. Sadly, China has gone a bit too far on that one, Margaret. You're right. We don't have that problem yet. China has built far more infrastructure than it needs. They like have, empty buildings and roads to nowhere and bridges to nowhere and stuff like that. But yes, we should definitely spend time doing that. I completely agree. The thing I'm worried about with us, Margaret, is if we're going to take them and do so, I don't want the federal government doing it. Give that money back to states and let them do it. Now, are the states so much better than the federal government? They're less worse. That's what I'll say. Why? When you add the level of sending X dollars to the federal government and then them trying to give it back to build in a local area, there's just more grift, more cash going away, and the people making decisions are further away, so the odds of them making the right decision go down. If we're going to do that, which again, I'm not against it, it's a good idea, let's keep the money local. There is going to be, by default, less grift. There will still be grift. There will still be waste. But by default, there'll be less of it. And the odds of them making a good decision go up because they're close to the problem. So again, it becomes less bad. So yes, but locally. How about that? Yes, but locally. That's where I'll go with that. All right. Another super chat, $5. Rhetoric says, you're my first YouTube membership, Larry. Thank you for the years of hope and wisdom to many more. Oh, thank you, brother. That's so nice. Thank you. I do appreciate that. There we go. So yeah, I keep going. Rhetoric's known me for many years, and we keep going. Yes, we keep going. I don't know why we keep going, but we do keep going. That's true. So yeah. All righty. Andrea says, how many times do we need to nuke the world? My point exactly. We do not require that many nuclear weapons. It's not required. Now, there was a point, Mike has a valid point. The older they are, everyone knows there's a chance they will fail. The odds of failure go up. System failures, physical failures of the system itself, right? Everything could fail. So the failure rate goes up the older it is. So the older they are, the more we want to have. But still, I mean, it's far, was it 10 times over or something insane amount that there is? We have way too many. And I hope that the goal isn't to destroy the entire world. I would hope the goal is to annihilate the enemy or enemies that we're trying to annihilate. I assume that will be the answer. I hope that's the answer, right? That we're trying to do that. So, what are you going to do? So, yes. Michael says, the French love the nukes. It's all they have. I don't mean to be negative towards no, I do. I mean to be negative towards the French. I do. That's all they have. That's it. Their systems don't work. Their government is broken. Their military is broken. They trained, true story, they trained the Ukrainian unit in France. And after they trained the Ukrainian unit in France, the unit went back to Ukraine and deserted. Do your homework. I didn't make that up. That actually happened. Just Google French Ukrainian unit desertion in Google. You will see the story. They months trained it, went to Ukraine, gone. Gone. Yes, their French Foreign Legion getting trashed. The French Foreign Legion, all the French units that they spent into West Africa, gone. Last chunks are like Ivory Coast and like Chad. That's it. All that's gone. Replaced by who? Russians. I'm not joking. The Wagner Group said, We did our bit in Ukraine, learned a whole lot. Everything got good. Our new world, Putin's new plans, which I guess for Russia aren't a bad idea, which is, okay, you're in jail. The Russian prison system's a disaster, worse than ours or not. I mean, ours is bad. Theirs is worse. So terrible system. That guy sitting in horrible Russian prisons for years, and Wagner says, hey, you want to do 2 years in Wagner? If you don't die, you're pardoned. What? Done and done. So they start recruiting out of jail. Well, Wagner's paying them, which is great, because Wagner's getting its money from West African leadership, warlords and or elected and or just dudes who have guns, whatever, getting the money from them and paying these Wagner guys. The Russians aren't paying for them in prison anymore. Win, win, win. And when the French would show up, the French would show up and say, hey, we're going to kind of semi-colonize you and we want to control some stuff. And the West African says, we're really tired of that. In fact, they threw American bases out. We don't have American bases in West Africa either. They threw Americans out too. So we're gone also. The West African says, we don't want that. The Russians just want money. That's it. They just want money. And they went, wow, you don't want to control them? No, we would just like money, please. And the West African said, we have that because like we sell diamonds and stuff and things like that. We've got cash. And they went, could we just have cash? We don't want to control anything, just cash. And if you like us, let's make a deal, government to government. And that's it. And the West Africans went, done and done. And is it, one of the countries in West Africa recently paid off all of its debt. There's a West African country that has less debt than we do because it's paid off by percentage, obviously, right? Paid off. I know, crazy. Is it Burkina Faso? I think it's Burkina Faso, if I remember right. Yes. So anyway, I went way low on that, Michael. That's your fault. I'm blaming you. But yes, that is true. So on time, Garrett with the 5 gifts for Sharpe Way memberships. Thank you so much, guys. If you want to grab some of those memberships, now will be the time. Now will be the time to grab some. Thank you so much, Garrett, for that. I do appreciate that. You do pop up on time. I appreciate that tremendously. So yes. Straight End says for $1 over on Rumble, he says the technology of the 1980s and 1990s had tin whiskers failures. Oh, thank you for that. That is clear. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. Got it. Tin whiskers is the growth of oxidizing metals in electronics. This causes shorts and failures of circuit boards. Yes, thank you for that. I didn't know the reason why, but I get that 100%. The reality of it is there are failures. Straight End is correct. So the older your systems are, the more chance for failure. So you've got to send like 2 or 3 of those missiles to make sure one hits, right? But obviously, the more updated, to Mike's earlier point, the less of those you have to have because the failure rate goes down tremendously. And the French, theirs were all very old. That's true. Old technology, old everything. They updated everything 10 years ago, 15 years ago, something like that. We haven't updated ours in a long time, except for our nuclear subs aren't that bad compared to others. Our nuclear subs are actually pretty good, again, relative to other things. So we need more of that, I think. So there we go. All righty. Mike goes on to say, I wouldn't cut more than 25%. I know I'd go 75. That will be ICBMs replace hypersonic. Yep. Did I say supersonic? It's hypersonic. You're right, Mike. I'm sorry. I said supersonic. You are right. The phrase is hypersonic. My mistake. I should have said hypersonic. Yes, hypersonic. Yeah. He says maintain current levels of special forces, Marines. I might even increase them. I'm a big fan of the special forces, and as Daniel said, also drones. Which again, I link them together. Not everyone does. I should have been clearer, but yeah, I think that I might even increase those. I might even increase special forces. So maybe cut them 25%. I'd cut the Army 50% easily. Easily. We don't need those tank units. We know those units. We don't need those. Easy 50%. The Army's made for occupation. Our Army's made for occupation of other places. We don't need that. I would at least 50%, if not more. 100%. Yeah, I really would. Yeah. So Gene says, I support a McAfee president in 2016 because he understood cyber. Valid point, Gene. He did. He at that point, he understood cyber better than anybody. I don't think anybody understood cyber better than him in 2016. I mean that. I'm not joking when I say that. He really did get it. Like he understood what was happening. Yeah. Martin goes on to say the U.S. should do what China's doing, build infrastructure, build high-speed rail, rebuild our bridges, build water systems in the West, create millions of industrial jobs, restore manufacturing. If you're going to do it, that's the way to do it. I can't fight you on that. Yeah. So Sarah, back in the house. Let's train humans as peacemakers and ambassadors. Well, I like that idea. I know very little about weapons, but can't we manage most weapons remotely now? Defense, we need an army of hackers and computer control weapons. See, the piece I talk about when it comes to drones is drones aren't only what we think of as just the flying drones. It's that, obviously. It's also the terror drones. It's those two. It's also the naval drones. It's those two, right? One of the ways they're keeping the Russian Navy at bay in the Black Sea is naval drones, right? Literally unmanned boats that just go in and take places out. Yes, it's all types of drones. Drones that are tethered, drones that are not tethered. Now there's also drone machine gun turrets that basically go out almost like mini tanks. All types of drones. I agree completely. That's the part I was talking about. Lots and lots and lots of them. I completely agree. Yes. So, all righty. So if I can go down here a couple more. Here, Phil says the Mexican Senate just approved American special forces to operate in Mexico. That was my point from John Galt. He was asking about that idea. And I was worried, Phil, and John, if you're still watching over on Instagram, I was concerned America would just go, we don't care, we're just bombing. I would much rather have the Mexicans go, okay, you may. Way better. Better. Less bad, however you would say it. So, yes, that's definitely true. So, all righty. Let's see if I can grab some of these. Shelly says, you mean our leaders don't understand economics? Say it ain't so. I know. Yeah. It's bad. Phil says, that's what's great about space exploration. It's aspirational and can develop some practical industries. You know, I got to tell you, Phil, I think that is insanely underrated. You are correct. And most people, I know Bill Maher's one of the most loudest one. He's like, going to Mars is stupid. Going to the moon is dumb. They are 100% wrong. You are correct. Space exploration is aspirational. It does make people want to do cool things and do big things, number one, which is important. If you look at most of the scientists from the 80s and the 90s who were very popular and got stuff done, people who, helped us put together the shuttle plan, remember the space shuttle, all those types of things. These guys were inspired by the moon. They were inspired by the moon landing. They were inspired by Star Trek. I'm not joking. They were inspired by these things. You're right. It's aspirational. People wanted to be scientists and do cool things, right? I think a lot of people thought that. True, yes. But there's something else. I remember years ago, was it 2016? When Newt Gingrich was running for president. Was it 2012? I forgot. One of those years when he was running for president. And he was talking about us having a moon base. There are many reasons to not want Newt Gingrich to be president. Many of them. The moon base thing was not one. And they beat him up over the moon base. There were many other reasons to not want Newt Gingrich as president. His moon base thing was actually the best thing he was going on with. The moon base plan was good. You might say, Larry, why do you care about the moon base? Let me tell you why you care about the moon base. And I'm serious. I'm gonna reinforce what Phil's saying. On the moon, there's no atmosphere, right? So what does that mean? There's also no magnetic field. So what happens? Radiation hits you directly. So if you're gonna get someone to live on the moon base, you've got to figure out how to defend against that radiation somehow. You have to figure out how to repair damage done by radiation, or they can't survive there. We have a reason to do that. Why does that matter? Cancer treatments and other treatments that all require radiation, X-rays, damage done to genes. That will all be dealt with in some way because of us being on a moon base. Not just that. There's virtually no gravity on the moon compared to Earth, right? There's some gravity, but relative to Earth. So what does that mean? Well, how are you going to fix bones? How are you going to fix those types of problems? All the bone issues we have, we're going to have to figure it out on the moon. Would it make sense to go to the moon to fix some things because of the lack of gravity? So if you have a big problem that you can't get done here in America, on Earth, I should say, you go to the moon and get it done. Or the reverse, you figure out how to get stuff done in lack of gravity, which may help with your bone structure, all those things. We learn lots of things by doing this type of stuff, Phil. You are totally correct. Not just that you probably could mine stuff on the moon. I don't know. Someone told me you can mine stuff on the moon. I believe it if it's true. There's probably ways of mining. You'll learn how to mine stuff on the moon. So you can stop mining here. And maybe we can stop with the blood diamonds already. Of course, the Russians will be unhappy because they can't pay the Wagner Group if there's no blood diamonds. But okay, so you make the Wagner Group unhappy. But there'll be other people who'll be happy if there's maybe no more blood diamonds or whatever is the thing that's required, or the uranium or the gold or whatever. We talked before, the joke we had, if you remember the show several months ago, about the idea of getting a bunch of gold off of an asteroid so we can have some gold in Fort Knox so we can actually back our money with something. Great, we'll figure that out in the moon, how to do it. Then we'll fly to some asteroid, get the gold, and we won't have fiat currency anymore or whatever, right? So I completely agree, Phil. It is underrated, and the people who say it's not a good idea don't get it. It is a great idea to do these things. Now, does it have to be done by government? No. How do we know this? SpaceX does not have to be done by government. Now you're saying, but Larry, SpaceX, that's funded by government. True. Does it have to be funded by government? No. Why? We're going to go get the gold from the asteroid. People will pay for that. So we'll get some rich people to put some money into it. Or not, we'll do Robin Hood, and we'll all put money into getting gold from the asteroid. Yeah, we can make it happen. It could work. It could work. So anyway, yes. Andrea says, our office was remodeled during the lockdown. Less than half the office came back. That was my point. People don't know how to fix this shit, Andrea. We haven't figured this out. Some people, individuals have, but as a society, we have not figured this out. Kitty says, Larry, my partner still can't find a job being replaced with an H-1B visa people. Where do we find real jobs? We're freaking out. Yes. Kitty, this is serious. You're right. You are not alone. If you count people who are underemployed or not, or doing what they believe to be temporary gig work, right? Some people are gig workers and like it and don't want to stop. Not counting them. Those people are satisfied and happy. But a whole lot of gig workers are doing it because they think that's all they can do for now, right? Again, some people like the gig work. They want to do it. It's their career. They're happy. Some do. Some don't. They don't want to be an Uber driver forever. Some people love being delivery guys and gals. Some people love being Uber. That group of people does exist. They do. A lot of people don't. So if you don't count those people, if you count those people, and then you also count people who are underemployed, meaning I've got a master's degree, but I'm a barista at Starbucks, right? Which does not require even a college degree. And you've got a master's degree, so you're heavily underemployed. Our unemployment rate is probably over 25%. You can do your homework on that. I'm not making that up either. There's lots of data that shows that's probably true. It's probably more like 25%, maybe even 30%. When you count underemployed, people who've just given up, and also people who are working gig work, but they want it to be temporary, not permanent. I want to be clear. Some people love doing gig work and would never go back to regular work. But there's a bunch of people who don't want that. And they do it because, okay, I got to pay some bills. So I'll go do this for a while until they can find whatever they want to actually do. It's a problem. You're right. How do you find real jobs? I'm going to give you something that's going to sound so silly. Networking. It is the answer. Putting out resumes is, for those of you who are in that world right now, looking for work, putting out resumes by the dozens or hundreds or thousands is soul crushing and doesn't work. Soul crushing and doesn't work. It just, because what winds up happening is you have another problem, which is you, and a kid, your partner may already be there. You come to a point where you just want a job. You just want a job. You don't care what the job is. And when you go to be interviewed, it shows. And this may sound horrible for some of you, but be very forward. Part of what I do for a living as a business consultant is I hire and fire. It's what I do. It's what I do. Like I might be one of the guys who's going to hire or fire you. I have reorged. I have fired people. I have brought people on board. This is what I do. The person hiring you, Kitty, tell your partner this. The person hiring your partner doesn't care if your partner needs a job. I know that sounds horrible, but it's true. And your partner should accept that as true Whether your partner likes it or not does not matter. They can hate it, still accept it's true. They don't care. What a person wants when they're hiring you is that you want that job, not that you need any job. They don't care. Again, sounds horrible. You're like, but Larry, how are we going to pay our bills? They don't care. Not trying to be mean. This is a wake-up call for anybody right now who's listening or watching who is thinking about getting a job. The person in front of you does not care if you need a job. They don't care. They want you to want that job. That is what they care about. That's how it works. Incredible piece. I'll give you a little bit of, Kitty, if you want to reach out to me either via Twitter or you're a member. So reach out to me in the member chat, either one, if you want to. Maybe I'll reach out if I can. And I'm happy to have a call with your partner to give them some tips if your partner wants some tips. For those of you who just want to talk about getting a job, I have another YouTube page, which is just for that kind of thing. It's business, that kind of stuff. It's no politics. It's the Neo Sage. That's the YouTube page. TheNeosage. Bunch of videos. They're all free. Take them. Interview skills, all that kind of good stuff. So a lot of it's there. Just enjoy. If you want to take my actual courses, you can. If you want to, go to Udemy, Udemy, Udemy. That's the name, .com. Go there. Look for Larry Sharpe with the Neo Sage and a bunch of my classes. They're cheap. They're like a couple bucks. So people can take it if you want it. So if your partner wants to, go to Udemy, Udemy. It's a bunch of my classes there. It's very cheap. I forgot. It's a couple bucks. So like a couple of dollars, not like a couple $100. It's like a couple of bucks. I forgot what it costs. $14. I forgot whatever it charged. Whatever it charged. Every like 3 months, I get a check for like, I'm not joking, like $10 or something. I just did it so that people could have it, so you could enjoy. So just take it. It's very inexpensive. I get a very small cut from it at the end of it. Like every 3 months, I'm not joking. I get like $9. I'm serious. That's about how much, something like that. I think one check I got was like $19 from like all the classes people take on it. So just enjoy if you want to. It's a Udemy, Udemy. I think it's .com. Might be .net, but it's Udemy. And put Larry Sharpe, Neo Sage. Take the classes. They're inexpensive. I forgot how much they cost, but they're not that expensive. Anyway, please enjoy. I'm talking trash for you, Kitty, because I want you to be happier if you can. 3 parts to getting a job. Number 1's networking. Number 2 is resume building. And number 3 is interview skills. Resume building, never, ever just send out resumes. Always send out specific resumes to specific companies. Always send a cover letter. Whether they ask for it or not does not matter. Always send a cover letter. And the cover letter should never be professional. And what I mean by that is not all about professional. It should always be emotional. I'm not joking. It must be emotional. If you make your cover letter professional, it is not read. It's not thrown in the garbage. If it's emotional, if someone actually reads it and they connect, they will call you in. The goal of your cover letter is to have them see your resume in a good light. The goal of your resume is to get an interview. That's it. People will tell you all the time, you got to pay this because your resume has to say who you are. All a bunch of garbage, Kitty, means nothing. Tell your partner. Anyone who tells you that is full of shit. They don't hire. They're not hiring anybody. There's some guy or gal who used to do stuff who doesn't anymore. Nobody cares about that. The goal of it is for me to be interested in you, so I actually pick up the phone or email you and go, hey, come on in and we have a conversation, or get on a Zoom call so we have a conversation. The goal of your resume is not to say who you are. It's to get me to give a damn so that I actually want to talk to you. That's the only goal. If it doesn't do that, who cares? But Larry, a bunch of these resumes go through these machines and through AI. You're not getting that job. You're not getting that job. You're fooling yourself. If they use AI, and many do, you're not getting that job. Half of these jobs that you have out there aren't even actual jobs. They put out jobs so they'll get in trouble. Then they hire internally. Or they already know who they're hiring. So they put out the job descriptions to act like they did it. I've had people literally tell me, I need 3 resumes. They take 3 resumes, put it in a file, and then hire their friend. I'm not joking. So why'd you hire your friend? Well, I had 4 people. You did? Who are they? Oh, he said 3. Say 3 resumes on file. Oh, which one's the interview? Just him. He was so good, I hired him right away. Oh, okay. Done. I'm covered. I don't get sued now. So your partners in their resumes, they're in someone's file cabinet. Well, now it's virtual. They're in someone's folder on their computer. They're in someone's fault so they don't get fired or so they don't get sued. That's what that's there for. I know this sounds horrible. I know sometimes I say stuff and I feel bad because I'm saying things that sound so nonchalant and so apathetic and so uncaring because the world is nonchalant and apathetic and uncaring. It is. And we should understand that and act accordingly, right? We should understand that. We can hate it. I don't like it, but we should understand it and then act accordingly. So that's the goal of your resume and your cover letter. Once you get into an interview, here's what you remember for an interview. And I just had this happen 3 weeks ago. A friend of mine says, I don't understand, Larry. I had a great interview. I said, you did? She says, yeah. She said, I got a great interview. I said, oh, how do you know it was great? I answered all her questions. Oh, that's a terrible interview. She said, what? It's a terrible interview. What do you mean? I said, if you're answering questions, you failed. This isn't a test. The more they're talking, the more you're winning. The more you're talking, the more you're losing. You think you're in school now? You answer the right question, get 100% of the test? That's not how that shit works. Not at all. If they're talking, you're winning. I'm not making that up. If you're talking, you lost. You didn't get a job. You're fooling yourself. You're going to go home, think you won, tell your friends? You didn't get a job. Not how it works. You have to make sure that they're talking. And there are skills on how you do that, how you ask questions so that they will talk. If they're talking, you're winning. In fact, the more they talk, the more questions they want to ask you, the more you're going to fail. You're going to ask like 1 or 2 questions. That's it. And the rest of them talking about their stuff. Then you win. Anyway, I'm yapping away. I hope that was helpful if at all, Kitty. The way to get a job is to network. I didn't talk about the networking. I'm sorry. Okay, here's the most important piece. Whatever field your partner wants to get into, whether it's a field they're in now or not, whatever field, they need to go to trade associations, professional events where those people are. Not just where the people are, they want to hire them, but people who are not job fairs, professional events. Go to those events and go there. And do not bring your resume at all. Just bring a business card. That's it. And if it's a techie, you want to have it on your phone. If it's not tech, the more legacy the field is like law, finance, these are more legacy types. Have a physical business card. The more techie it is, you're having your phone, but please probably have a business card anyway. Just business card is his or her name on the card, and that's it, right? Very basic, that stuff. Don't bring a resume. Don't hand out resumes. Don't say you're looking for work. None of that. Just meet people and talk about stuff going on. That's all. The goal of that is to meet a bunch of people and to have cups of coffee or Zoom calls, not what they call informational interviews. That's garbage. That's a colossal waste of time. Just meet people, tell success stories. People will like it. If they like you, they will tell you whether you can get a job or not. And they'll be forward. They won't lie to you. They'll go, Kitty, there's no job here. Don't waste your time. Okay, thank you. I'm going to give my hopes up. You know who is hiring? Who? Louis, he's hiring. He is? Yeah, he's looking for somebody. Let me make a phone call, see if I can get you in. That's how you get jobs today. I wish I was making that up. That's not how you get jobs today. I get gigs all the time. I haven't marketed my services in any real manner in 9 years. I'm not joking. I haven't marketed my services in 9 years. I network my way through everything. And somehow I pay my bills in New York City. I'm practicing what I preach. Networking's everything. Networking's everything. Anyway, you got me going off on stuff. This is like with my day job stuff, Kitty. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have gone so long on that. But look, you're not alone. It is a worry. Network now. Meet people now. The worst thing your partner can do is freak out, because that desperation will come across, and desperation means you're not getting hired. Let me say it again. That desperation will come out. It will ensure you will not be hired. If I'm hiring and you're desperate, you're not getting hired. Because what I'm going to think is you're going to keep this job till you find something better and you're leaving. Not just that, you're going to be at this job while looking for another job. I don't want you. That's what I'm going to think. Now you might go, but Larry, that's not true. It doesn't matter what's true. It matters what I think. That's what I'm going to be thinking. All right, I went way long. I've got a bunch of stuff I got to go. I apologize. Let me grab a bunch of these if I could. I'm sorry, you got me going, Kitty. I hope that was helpful at least. So, all right. Sarah, new member. Thank you for becoming a member. I appreciate that. Peace. Thank you both for becoming a member. He says, I'm not joking. Hit that like button. Become a member. Do it now. He is correct. Listen to Peace. He's right. Sarah, I'm glad you are back. Welcome back home. Welcome home. Welcome back home. I am now looking. Where am I here? I am. There we go. I am looking over on Rumble, and Alpha Dork says, thanks for the tip. Emotional cover letter. Brilliant. Yes. And he is joined locals. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Look, let me explain what that means by an emotional cover letter. Most people who would have started a cover letter, they will tell you should start with something like this. Dear hiring manager, pursuant to the article seen on LinkedIn, blah, blah, blah. No, don't do that. It's garbage. No one pays attention to that. You want to say, well, dear hiring manager, whatever. This is like the dear hiring manager. First sentence, something like this. I was so excited to see your job on LinkedIn or wherever you see the job, right? Whatever. I was so excited when my friend Johnny told me that you guys were hiring. Yes, that's how you start the letter. I'm not joking. When I was a kid, I used to see your product on YouTube, my favorite YouTuber, and I couldn't wait to work for a company like that. I'm not joking. You put that in your cover letter, and I go, oh, this guy's serious. This guy used to watch our stuff on YouTube. Call this guy up. Email him. That's what happens. So emotional cover letter. And anyone who tells you professional, they don't know what I'm talking about. That's not how this works. That's why some people are so upset. I did the thing. They told me to put the cover letter. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, they told you garbage. They don't hire anybody. I'm the guy who reads the cover letter. You're talking to a guy who hires and fires, right? I pay people salaries. Like I do that. That's what I do, right? So yeah, I'm going to read it. It's garbage. It's garbage. I'm doing that. So yes, something like that, right? Your own words, obviously, be yourself, right? But something like that. Watch. You could send out 100 resumes, 1,000 resumes with the regular format. You won't get one response. 0. Send out 10 the way I told you. Guaranteed you get a response. Guaranteed. You get an email, text, call. Guaranteed. Yes. Guaranteed. So anyway, Liberty Lady is on Rumble. She says, guys, go back and watch the January 1st episode, 2025. I went over all aspects of starting a new career job. That's true. I did the beginning of the year thing. So if anybody wants to go back, check out that one. It's the January 1st of this year, 2025. I talked about all this stuff then, so you can go watch it if you like. So thank you for that. Thank you, Liberty Lady. You're paying attention. I appreciate it. Cozy Wellness was watching on Instagram, and he says, unfortunately, this is true. Pieces Popular says, yep, it's true, guys. I'm not making this up. It's true. I wish it wasn't. I'm not happy about it. I'm just being real. That's all I'm saying. I'm just being real. All righty. Let's see if I can go down here. Kitty says he did DevOps for tech companies. Yeah, it's a tough one. The reality of it is, look, Kitty, why would I spend more money for a developer when I could get someone cheaper? Why would I spend more money? And it's a serious question. Guys, I hope I'm not putting too much time on this. It's kind of off topic, but I know this is important for a lot of people. Why would I spend the money? Because I think he's serious and real and will give me a better job than somebody else. That's why. So how would I believe that? An emotional cover letter. I remember a guy who wanted to work for a game company, game developer, right? Why he wanted to do that? He talked about the games that he loved, and he got hired. He didn't talk about his skill set, the games that he loved, and he got hired because we thought, oh, this guy is going to be a good developer. He's going to play. He's going to enjoy. He's going to be good at it. He's going to. He's more expensive than the guy who comes from, what country I'm talking about, from that other country. I don't want to get in trouble, but right, but he's going to be twice as good. So we're going to pay him probably 25% more, maybe 50% more, but it's going to be twice as good. And going to give us great ideas, Give us his all. Hey, look for another job someplace else. He's not going to quit as soon as he gets a better job. He's going to stay right here. He loves this. Boom. That's what I mean by networking. That's what I mean by emotion. That's how you win, right? That's how you win that job. So yes. Matt says, depressing getting on job websites and seeing 200 plus other people apply to the position. Yes. That's not really a job, Matt. That goes into someone's folder. Yes. That will go into somebody's folder. Matt goes on to say, and probably behind the scenes being weeded out and not even have an application looked at. Correct. Accurate. What you don't want to happen is when you meet somebody and they go, let me give you the number to my HR department. Waste of time. Waste of time. They're just being nice to you. There's no job there. If they say to you, let me call Jim. Let me call Jane. Let me see what Phil's doing. That's real. That's real. If they go, I'll give you the email to our HR. That's a waste of time. That's just being polite. If he or she says, let me call, let me see, let me text an individual, that's real. Now you know what's happening, right? If you go, I got it in. How? She said she was going to send me to HR. You don't have it in. You phone yourself. Next, move on. Next, move on. Move on. So, yeah. Joel says the electric grid is full of an aging workforce. It's very hard to get anyone to work. Joel is correct on this one. If you are someone who wants to work with your hands, you want to be in the trades, you get hired. You can get a job. Yeah, you will get a job. 100% you get a job. No doubt. No doubt you would. So, all right. I know I put a lot on this. I want to try to get back on topic, but I know you guys care, so I want to be good to you all. I know you guys care. So, yes. All right. Peace over on Rumble. Thank you for the $20, Peace. Says, Rumble, get over here. You can say F and S and the H-man. He said the actual words. I didn't, because I'm also on YouTube. You don't need to say it, but you can if you want to. He's not wrong. Peace is not wrong. Yes, absolutely. So, all righty. Let me keep going down here if I can. All right, you guys got a lot of comments. I appreciate all of the other comments. I really do. Thank you so much. Let's see here. Let's see. Joel says, change the stupid budget games that cause fuel or ammo to be dumped so we get more next year type of. Yes. Okay. Let me bring this up. Joel brings up a very valid point. The other thing that we do, and for those of you who've been in the military or in the government in general, but definitely in the military, you can see there is no doubt that when you actually see what happens in the military, there is so much obvious waste, fraud, and abuse. It's so obvious. Thing that I remember, I used to work in an armory years ago. This is back in the 90s now. 80s? 90s? Back in the 90s now. And at the end of every year, we would just fire off all the ammunition. Joel's right. We just get rid of it all, right? We literally, some of you, it's hard for me to even say, we would break some equipment. They would have us go out and break equipment. Why? Because you have to have a repair budget. Well, the equipment would get broken. So I remember we would go out, back in the day, I don't know if they still have it now I have up here and stuff. Back in the day, you have to wear the night vision goggles, right? You have to actually put them on wrap your head. Now they pop off the helmet or whatever, but this is the 90s, right? So you had to actually wear the goggles. We sledgehammer, break them at the end of the year. Well, because otherwise you don't get your money. So you got to break something that didn't break. You got to break it. Otherwise you don't get any money. You're right. Yes, absolutely what happened. So, right. Or all of a sudden it's October, which is the end of the fiscal year for the military, for the federal government, and everyone's going to the range. And we're just firing off, M50 rounds. Right, M50, M2, 50 cals, not M50s. The M2, the Maudeuse, 50 cal, just firing all rounds, just get them all out. 60 rounds, just lighting them up, firing stuff off, get all the rounds off. Yeah, gotta get rid of them. So you just get rid of them. That's it. Yes, absolutely. So, all righty. I do appreciate that. Juan says, cutting defense spending in half is the best thing I've heard from Trump. However, I'm concerned about the president's safety. Thank you, Juan. I brought this up and people thought I was joking. I'm not joking. If he actually, look, you never know with Trump, to be forward. As I say all the time, him being what's the word I'll use? Mercurial? Is that a good word? I'll use that. Him being so mercurial, you don't know if he's going to be hammering this for the next 3 months or forget about it tomorrow. You don't know, right? if he's serious and he really wants to make that cut, again, I'm in. He needs to have an answer to your point, Juan, or he might. I'm not going to say it because they will cancel me. They'll be knocking on my door. I'm just saying I would be concerned. That's what I will say. You are right, Juan. Be concerned. I would be concerned if that were the case. So, yes. All righty. That's good. I do think that's a valid point. There we go. So, I do appreciate you guys who are trying to help out and talk nice to Kitty to help her out. I do appreciate that. Yes. So, Shelly says there's a woman in Nebraska state prison for videotaping destruction of Trump votes. Trump can't pardon her. Let him talk, but help this woman out already. Nebraska state prison. Is that true? Shelly, I hadn't heard that. That doesn't make sense to me. Hold on. The governor of Nebraska is a friend or ally. I said maybe a friend. Is an ally of Trump. One would think that if Trump mentioned it, he would easily just pardon her. That seems odd to me. I'm not sure how that works, Shelly. Excuse me, because I think he could easily just do that. I think he could easily just take care of that. I think so. So, yeah. Joseph says, I was in Syria back in 2017. Got a first-person introduction to the military-industrial complex. Things need to change. Hoping to connect with you when time comes to get rid of Hochul. I hope so too, Joseph. Yes, it is bad. Yes, it is absolutely bad. Right? I knew guys who left the Marines and then became contractors and went right back. Just got more money, less rules, and did easier work. I knew a guy, I'm not joking, in the Marine Corps, did like a year or two in Iraq, left, came back as a contractor, and his job was handing out cash. I'm not joking. His job was to hand out cash to people who we were paying to not fight us. Serious. So like every month they'd come by to get their money and he'd hand out cash. Here's yours. Don't shoot us. Here, don't shoot us. Here, don't shoot us. Here, thank you for not shooting us. Thank you for not shooting us. Thank you for not shooting us. That was his job. He had to guard the money and hand it out. Him and his guys, they guarded the money. They brought the money in, guarded it, and then gave it out every month to the people who not shoot us. I wish I was joking. I'm not. That was a thing. And he made twice the amount of money. He made twice the amount of money to hand out money all day. It was great. Yes. Bonnie says, thank you for being a member, Bonnie. There are many areas in the country that the military is the only source of income. Without either bases or military manufacturing, there's no work. You are 100% correct, Bonnie. And it's becoming more and more common. That's the problem. Yes. Ryan says, you just can't say H-man out loud. Yeah, I just don't want to get. The problem is, YouTube is just so ubiquitous. It's so big. It would be nice if I could just be on Rumble, or nice if I could just be on X, or if I could just be on. I would be wonderful. It's just not realistic. It's just not, right? If I'm going to grow this thing, I've got to be on all the platforms. I am actually, if I count every platform I'm on 22 platforms. I don't go live on all 22. I go live on 8. But I then eventually start putting stuff on other over time. I put stuff on other platforms. I have to be, otherwise I'll never. I struggle to grow already because of my content, but without it, just if I start dropping H bombs, I like that one. I start doing that, F bombs, S bombs too much, I'll never grow. I'll never. And I'm trying to get this out to more and more people. So thank you for your $2, Ryan. I appreciate all the super chats, guys. I really do. I appreciate them like there's no tomorrow. I do appreciate it tremendously. So yes. All righty. Matt says Larry is also my first on membership. Oh, thank you. Kim says shame here. Thank you, Daniel. My first one too. Oh, guys, are you trying to make me emotional? I think it's working. I'm actually emotional. Thank you for that. I appreciate that tremendously. Yes, I really do appreciate that. Thank you so much. Yeah, that's awesome. So, all right. Matt says, Larry, a little off topic, but not. Where can someone go to actually find historically accurate info? Just like a library, or says some secret place you can find accurate info. Can't trust wiki. The issue how I try to find my info is I do a lot of Googling. That may seem like a crappy answer, but I'm being very forward. I have 3 ways I get info. One of them, believe it or not, is so people send me a lot of stuff. Sadly, sometimes just too much. I can't check it all out. I can't respond to enough. I get so much stuff sometimes. I get a lot of people send me a lot of stuff. That's one thing. People say, hey, how about this? How about that? How about this? I try to respond to most of it. I can't always do it, but people send me stuff a lot. So that's one thing. So I won't know what's happening, and someone will send me a note. Did you see this? What the hell is this? And it'll be someone I'd never heard of, someone I didn't know, and I'll go research it. Right now, did Shelly just send me that thing about the person in Nebraska? Now I know people in Nebraska, so I'll probably call a guy I know in Nebraska. I'm like, dude, did you hear about this? So I might do that. I might just call a guy. One of the people was watching my show. Shelly said, this happened. Would you hear about this? And he'll tell me, oh, that's yes. No, that's not true. Oh, she misunderstood. Oh, no, she's correct. Whatever. He'll give me his viewpoint on it. And that's how I'll get some info. Then I might just do some Googling, right? And I try to, so one of his people send me stuff. That's number one. Number two is that when I think things are interesting, I'll Google them, right? The next thing I do is I'll often listen to people who I think are experts on the subject, depending on the subject that I want. I'll tend to Google the subject I want. I'll look for 2 or 3 people, and I'll see one of who's popular, because popular does matter to me, right? If they're popular, because that means other people think it. If that makes any sense. Other people think it. So I will then check what's popular and say, okay, so other people think this because it's popular. And then I'll listen and see if it makes sense. If it makes sense immediately, I will sometimes just go, okay, that's real. It makes sense. It's popular. My friend told me it's good. If not, I will then sometimes go deeper. And then what I do is I'll look and see who says he's wrong. Then with that, I'll go back and forth. Now, when it comes to being historically accurate, generally speaking, when it comes to historically accurate, it is very simple to figure this out. Generally speaking, go to anyone who is an expert who is not currently, I'm not joking, who is not currently a professor. You may say, wait a minute, Larry, I don't want a professor. No. You will not hear me quote almost ever current professors. Most current professors are wrong. I know that sounds horrible, but it's true. Are they a former professor or never been a professor? Yes. Now, do they have a large following and never went to college? Gold. Almost guaranteed accurate. I know it sounds stupid. I'm just being very forward. Do they have a large following and never finished college? They're probably right. Why? Because they didn't read a book. They didn't read a book. They don't have the curriculum. If you're a professor, you have the curriculum. You read a book. If you didn't go to college, you're all self-taught. So yes, I look for those people. So I don't know if that was easy or not. What I do is not easy. How I get the information is often not easy, but that's kind of how I do it. I hope that was clear, at least, Matt. Adrian says, if we're going to spend billions, we should use it to build our country back up to a prosperous, self-sufficient U.S. Yes. Yes. That is accurate. Yes. 100%. Adrian goes on to say, if they can build weapons, they can build factories. Also, yes, but you have to have people who will buy the thing, right? People have to buy the thing. That's a critical piece. And they don't always do that. So yes. All righty. Phil says, French nuclear powered by Nigeria's uranium. Yeah, but that Western Africa thing is going away, Phil. The Frenchies are getting beat up. That's going away. I'm telling you, they're gone from most of those. I think they still have in the Ivory Coast, and I think Chad. I think that's it. The rest, I think they're gone. So yeah, I think the rest of them, I think they're kind of gone. So any case. All right, let me see if I can grab some of these. You guys gave me so many of them. I'm doing my best to grab the ones that I can. All righty. Phil says, Larry is one of the Bobs from Office Space. What are you doing here? I kind of am. I've done that before. I've reorged more than once. So yes, absolutely. Ron says, Larry's just another rich podcaster. I wish that were true. Ron, God, I can't wait till that's true. Yes, I can't wait till that's true. That'd be great. God, I can't wait. One day, Ron, that should be true. One day. Yes. Rhetoric says Larry took our jobs. It's true. I took your job. I did. It's true. Yes, absolutely. 100%. All righty. Let's see here. Hold on. Oh, okay. Matt knows it. He's like, get some programming classes here. Basically, I have courses on sale 95% of the month. Yes, yes. Udemy. I did Udemy on purpose because I just thought it would be good for people. It tends to be inexpensive. And you can just take my classes. If you work for a company and you hire me to come in and do training, it's very expensive. That is true. But if you don't work for a company and you do some classes, I wanted to give you an opportunity to just enjoy. So yes, enjoy. It is not that expensive at all. So yes. All right. Andrew goes on to say, and just be authentic. The worry about being authentic sometimes, Andrew, is there's a difference between being unnecessarily open and being honest and authentic. And people often confuse those. So let's just make sure we don't become unnecessarily open. That's what I would say. Yes. Okay. There we go. Kitty goes on to say, I'm a writer. Maybe I'll help with cover letters. Yes. Good idea. Yes. Matt goes on to say, half the time my resumes aren't even read since my application is pre-screened by. Yep. Correct. Yes. Yes. All right. Roy says, you want them to be able to imagine working with you so they can train somebody they like, not that they're likely to train someone they don't like. Valid point. That's another good point, Roy. When you are doing that, you want to start thinking to yourself, in your cover letter, first chunk is going to be the emotional piece and why you want to be there. The last piece is going to be what they can expect. This is to your point, Roy. That's the point. What can they expect? What can they see? Paint a picture of what they can see. 100% correct. Yes. Yep. Kate goes on to say, thank you for being a member, Kate. My husband was laid off last August. He's having a really hard time finding jobs. Guys, I know this thing is an issue, so I want to be very forward with you for this. There are certain resumes that people tend to like and certain resumes they don't like. And the thing to remember when it comes to a resume in general and yourself, our pride gets in our way. I know I'm off topic again, but our pride gets in our way. I want to show people how smart I am or how much experience I have or whatever the case may be. Well, if it doesn't fit the job description, I don't care. Let me say it again. If it doesn't fit the job description, I don't care. The concept many people have is, I'm going to put all the stuff I did because you're proud. I don't care. I don't mean to be mean. I'm trying to be real. I don't care. Is it relevant to my position? It's not. Don't put it. I don't care. You're just making me bothered or upset or reason to throw it away. Now, I don't know your husband, Kate, at all. I know people in general. And most people, when they get laid off, they want to throw everything at look how good I am. Look at what I've done. Every single resume, every single cover letter should be tailored to the job that is there. Preferably with someone who you've talked to in the past about it. If you can name drop all day long. I'm going to get my job on my merits is insanely stupid and short-sighted. Get your job any way possible. Pay your damn bills. I don't mean to be cruel again. Pay your bills. Put your pride in your pocket and go pay your bills. That is my view on that. Do as you see fit. Every single resume, I would rather you spend 15 minutes per resume and cover letter and send one out in 15 minutes than mass send out 100. Send one that's tailored versus 100 that is not. That's it. Try yourself to call in when you can. Try to LinkedIn to figure people out. Check. They're doing it to you. Like if they like you, they're checking your Instagram, they're checking your Facebook, they're checking your. So check theirs. Check theirs. Of course. Same thing. You can even say, I saw on your LinkedIn profile that you like horses. So do I. I'm not joking. That seems weird, Larry. No, you did your homework. You did your homework. Totally fine. This is not something you did randomly. And that's the point. You wanted that job. You did your homework. So anyway, I could talk on this forever. I should do a whole different show on this probably. Probably should. So Sarah, thank you for the $9.99. I don't know when my membership ended, so here's for when I was gone. Oh, Sarah, that was so sweet. Thank you. I appreciate that. I do appreciate that. Absolutely. So, all right. Rhetoric says, teach me the make them talk skills, Larry. All right. All right. I'm going to give you something. Before you go into an interview, you want to have at least 2 questions prepared before you walk in that. And it's not going to be something like, what is your policy on X, Y, and Z? Those are garbage questions. Don't ask those dumb questions. They mean nothing. Don't ask those questions. I know to say that. Don't do that. No. 2 questions. 1, a question you're going to open with that has nothing to do with anything professional whatsoever. I'm not joking. Is it going to be about the weather? Is it going to be about the baseball game? Is it going to be about the traffic? I don't care. It's going to be something that makes you human. That's your opening question. Start with that. Second question we'll be prepared with is a question that they want to answer. So if Rhetoric is interviewing me and I'm going to walk in, I'm not going to be like, hello, Mr. Rhetoric. I'm so happy that you gave me the time of day. I need a job really bad. I'm done. I'm never getting that job. Never. I've wasted my time. I'm going to say something like, has the traffic always been so good here? I'm surprised how the traffic is. Usually it's a disaster. Today it's great. Wonderful question to begin with. I made that up. I don't know. Whatever. And then when I know that he wants to answer, because I did some homework with Rhetoric and I saw who he was. And I'm going to say, Rhetoric, I gotta ask you this question. You're kind of like a techie guy, but I know you were interested in politics. What made you interested in politics? Doesn't seem like a connection to me. He's going to go yapping forever. As Rhetoric yaps, I get the job. Neither of those questions had anything to do with my skill set. Nothing to do with it. Nothing to do with it. Him and I yapping, I get the job. This goes back to Roy's point. Roy's point was Rhetoric wants to train me. Rhetoric likes me now. He wants to train me. Now, if we happen to have someone in some friends, right? Because Kitty also happens to know Rhetoric, and Kitty's the one who told Rhetoric to talk to me, and Rhetoric likes Kitty, I'm in. That's how you get a job. I wish it was like how skilled you were or something. That's not really a thing. Not in today's world. Isn't a thing. So anyway, hope at least that makes sense. Hope it does. So, alrighty. Ron says, they didn't care about my resume. My friends already vouched for me. Bingo. I'm not making this up. Yes, absolutely. Not making this up. That's how it works. That's the thing. Yes. Ron goes on to say, my nephew just got a $100K a year job through his friend. Yep. He has 0 experience. Yep. But his friend vouched for him to train him. Yes. I'm not paying Ron. Ron just did that. Yes. Absolutely. That's how it works. 100%. Yes. So Roy goes, yes to networking. Yes. In fact, I met Roy at Business Networking International. That's where I met Roy. That's how we know each other, through networking. Literally. So yes, absolutely. It's absolutely true. So yeah. Kitty says, thanks, Larry. I hope I was able to help. I mean, I don't know if I give you that much. I try my best to give you something. So yeah, there we go. Kate says, can I hire you for my husband? He's your enthusiasm and honesty. You're a member, Kate. Reach out to the membership link. I'll have a conversation. It's fine. Yes, absolutely. So, all righty. Let's see if I can keep going down here. All right. If I can grab so many that I appreciate that. Matt goes back to, I'm not joking, Larry 2025. I know that's like the whole thing, isn't it? I'm always saying I'm not joking. Because sometimes when I say these things, guys, sometimes I feel so, I feel like I'm saying things bad, negatively, and maybe joking, but I'm not. It's really how it works. Like this is how the world actually works so often. And it'd be nice if it didn't, but it often does. So yes, it's really a big deal. So, all righty. Let me grab some more of these. Sarah says, you know what really works too? Show up in person, ask the hiring, and bring an extra copy of your letter and resume. Smile in person. Often they pick the person at the top of the pile. I cannot tell you how important that is when you know. When you can show up, Sarah, you are correct. It's just not as realistic, right? Depends on where you live, how hard it is to get there, all those things. But yes, if you can do that, it is amazing to show up. I agree completely. I've cold called my own jobs. I've done it too. I have walked up just, hey, are you guys hiring? What? I said, are you guys hiring? Really? Yeah, I want this job. I would tell them what job I want. I've done that too. So yes, it absolutely can do it. It's just challenging depending upon, right? Depending upon what kind of job, where you live, what you can do, how easy it is for you to get around. And that can also be expensive and time consuming, right? All those things. So it can be any of those. Yes. Yes. All right. Let's see here. Mike says, I can only find AP and other media fact check that Russian actors faked ballot destruction. Oh, is that right? I didn't know that. I never heard that. I believe you. I just never heard that. Yes. Shin says, Shin says, Larry, when are you coming to Nassau County? I'm going back out, I think, in about a week and a half. I'm heading back up north, not to Nassau County. I probably be coming to Nassau County probably until March. I'll be out in Nassau County probably in March. So I will be there. Yes, probably in March. Mike says, way to find accurate info, search Google and or DuckDuckGo. Search article for government source or original doc/video. Check if multiple credible news sources and similar articles. There's a piece also that Mike brings up, which I like. The idea of not just doing straight Googling. I say Google, right? But when I say Google, I mean research. I don't always use only Google, and I will sometimes use other browsers too. So yes, I think other browsers do matter. I think Mike's correct there. He corrects me. I probably shouldn't have said Google. I use Google as an adjective just to mean research. But I may not use that, right? I may use other things. Yes. So Khalidi says some professors only want tenure. Correct. Correct. Right on the money, my friend. Yes. Right on the money. So it is an issue. So Daniel says, Larry, did you see the Trump's tweet about if you're saving the country, can't break the law? Yes. All right. Let me bring this piece up if I could. There's nothing I wanted to bring up. So Trump said something else, not just this piece. He also said, if you're saving the country, you're not breaking the law. Or a man who saves the country cannot break the law. Something like that. It is supposed to be a Napoleonic quote, but I don't know if it actually is or isn't. It may be, but it may not be. It is attributed to Napoleon, but Napoleon may not have said it. Supposedly, he said that because he was saving France, so he can't break the law. So, yeah, I do believe that Trump believes that. And I also think that a lot of Americans believe that too. This is not a good thing, Daniel, that Americans believe that. That's not a positive thing. Americans should not believe that. But I think they do. And I think they do because the same thing I've been saying forever. They know the system's broken. I was talking to my daughter just the other day about this. And I said, what a lot of people aren't understanding, one of the biggest issues that's happening right now in America is the wealth gap. That is one of the biggest issues we're having right now, bigger than anything else. You say, wait a minute, that's the biggest thing. Because as the wealth gap gets bigger, I'll give you several things that are happening that is because of the wealth gap. And this is an emotional piece, not a logical piece. It's utterly emotional. Why do you think so many people are okay with Luigi doing what he did to that CEO? Wealth gap. But Larry, it's murder. I'm not talking logic. I'm talking emotion. When the wealth gap gets big and we believe that the fat cats are all the evil bad guys, then we're Whatever happens to them, happens to them. And it's how we start thinking. I'm still not done. What about when we start seeing how other people who are shoplifting? Well, it's okay because we're shoplifting for Walmart, or we're shoplifting from the big business, or we're shoplifting from CVS. It becomes okay. Okay, it's not okay. Logically, it's not okay. It's literally breaking the law. It's literally theft. It's the CEO isn't making any less money because you shoplift. All that happened is now the person who's there, they get less money, or their life is harder because of you. But wealth gap. So it's an invisible company, and it's the bad CEO, and blah, blah, blah. And we emotionally make it okay. It validates bad behavior. It validates bad behavior. So now it's okay if Trump breaks all the laws. Who cares? The system doesn't work. He's getting the bad guys that get us. So it becomes okay. It validates bad behavior. The wealth gap is our biggest problem, and it is the biggest in New York State. New York State has the largest wealth gap of all the states. The wealth gap is what makes people feel like bad behavior is okay. It emotionally validates bad behavior. Becoming Napoleon becomes okay because see, he's getting the other guys, Daniel, not the guys that are on our side. He's getting the bad guys who are the guys who have all the money. So he's getting the bad billionaires. Again, I wish I was joking. I'm not. So you are correct. I heard that and I hated it. I don't like it at all. But it's real. And a lot of Americans are like, I'm good with it. A lot of them are. In my view, far too many of them are okay with it. And it's because of the wealth gap. The wealth gap makes people think it's okay. It validates bad behavior. It emotionally validates bad behavior. And we're okay with it. We're okay with it. As a people, not me particularly, not you necessarily, Daniel. I don't know if you're okay with it, but I'm saying as a nation, you can see it. We're like, whatever. So now with that in mind, I'm going to give Democrats, if you're a Democrat or you lean left, I'm going to give you some advice. Hopefully you will listen. It is time for Democrats to see what Trump is doing and stop shaming him and learn something from him. He is clearly winning. And if you're a Democrat, it probably makes you angry. I get it. If I was a Democrat, I'd be angry too. I understand how you would be feeling now. I get it. I'd be mad too if I were you. So stop shaming and start recognizing what he's doing. And what he's doing is brazenly defending what he thinks his base thinks is correct or what his donors think is correct. Blatantly doing it. Openly doing it. And people are like, okay. And he's coming up with answers. If you are a Democrat, you need to lean hard into left-leaning answers now. It doesn't matter if you agree with them or not. I wish I was joking yet again. I'm not. It doesn't matter. If you don't come up with left-leaning answers like tomorrow and start yelling at them and scolding people about it and attacking everyone who doesn't believe in your left-leaning answers, the Democrats are going to fail for the next 3 years. If not longer, but for sure 3 years. Lara, are you saying we need to have a public option healthcare or healthcare? Yes. And yell it and scream it. You saying that we're going to tax the billionaires? Yes. I don't want any of that, obviously, but I'm just saying those are left-leaning answers. We're going to tax the billionaires and cut and make them pay 90% of all their money and give it to the poor people or whatever your left-leaning answer is, right? Yes. Get behind that, yell that, say you're going to do it. Say anyone who doesn't do it is an un-American or whatever you're going to say. Scream and yell and do all of that stuff all day long. And don't stop. And don't stop. The whole party's going to do it. Just all scream and yell. We're going to tax the billionaires 99% and give it to the, poor people. Whatever is your thing. Don't stop. Or you're in trouble. Because, Daniel, you are right. America right now is totally okay with Trump breaking the law. Totally okay with Elon doing whatever he wants. We're okay. You might think we're not. We are. And if you think, no, we're not, we're mad. Why? Because some guy on YouTube said we're mad? Where's the warrant for his arrest? Where's the impeachment? Where's the demand? for Elon to step down? Where's the demand for F. Jr. to step down? Tulsi Gabbard to step down? Where's the demand for Elon to be arrested? Where is it? Nowhere. Nowhere. Where's the protests with 100,000 people in the streets? Where's that protest? Nowhere. America's okay with this. You can talk and say it's not true. You're fooling yourself. America's okay with this. And the number one reason is wealth gap. There's many reasons. Number one, wealth gap. The wealth gap makes people go, well, they deserve it, I guess, because I can't make my bills and he's wealthy. So bad behavior is fine. That's how it works. So, all right. Anyway, Matt says, Larry, do you have a team talking to you? I always wondered why you have headphones in your podcast. No, I keep headphones in because I listen to what I'm showing you. Otherwise, I don't need them. I don't need them in anymore. This is a habit now, right? Usually I keep them in because I can do that. Also, I do when I remember. If I have 3 screens up right here, one of them has Rumble in it and Instagram back and forth. One has my screen here where I have all my other pieces and all my other thing I'm watching. And when something pops up, I do get a little ding. And so I hear a ding, so I can look over to Rumble and see if something's going on there, right? So I do get a ding on those sides. That's how I see my Rumble. And the other side usually is where I have any video I'm going to post. And the video I hear through here. You guys hear it. I hear it in my ear. And also, if I get a ping, sometimes my team will, if I remember, I often forget, I try to keep my messenger up. So my team will pop up and go, hey, don't forget this, do that, say this. So I do have that popping up on my other screen too. So I do keep a couple of screens. So that's why I have it. So yes, that's why I do it. So hope that answers your question. So Matt says, Larry should do a show on personal betterment advice along with the keto show and the other ones. I did a keto show with a bunch of people on it. So that was kind of cool. I did like that. And I do personal betterment sometimes here or there, but that's what AMAs are for. I try to do AMAs so people can ask me any question they want. So yeah, I try to do that so I can have that. That is my whole goal. That's the reason why I do that. So the AMAs, I know that I have a lot of experience from the business world that I often bring into politics. And people a lot of times want me to give some of that business advice. So I'm happy to give it if you want to hear it. Some people don't care. That's the other problem I have too, right? If I do a show on just that, sometimes people don't want that show. Like they like me for my politics. They don't like me for my business, or they like me for my business, not for my politics. I've thought about doing separate shows. I've talked to him about doing separate shows. I also thought about getting the idea of doing a separate channel. I thought of all those things. The problem is I got to work during the day. Matt, if I do this show, this show is 2 hours for the show usually. Prep for the show, knowing stuff in general, being ready for this, and then trying to answer questions afterwards and during it. This can easily be 3 or 4 hours every day. I have family, friends, business. It's hard to do it all. Now I'm going to do one on personal betterment. It's another 2-3 hours a week more. This is already 2 or 3 hours a day, 4 hours a day. Now I got to add that. It's just hard. It's just time. It's challenging for time and still paying my bills, all things that I do. It becomes very challenging. So I'd love to do it. I wish I could, right? I wish I could. I would love to just do this all day. I would love to do it. I wish I could just stay on, be like Hassan and stay on for 6 hours a day. That'd be amazing. So yes. So yeah. Roy says Napoleon isn't the best source of preserving democracy. But if you remember what he said, Roy, remember what he said when was it Louis the 16th? I think it was 16th who said, I am the state. Remember that? That was the French king who said, I am the state. Well, Napoleon said, I am the revolution. So whatever Napoleon did was by default the revolution, Roy. See? That's how that works. So if Trump is the revolution, if Trump is democracy, whatever he does is democracy. See that? You weren't thinking like that. So yes. Chris says it's from the World movie. Oh, is that right? I didn't recognize that. That movie, by the way, those of you, if you want to see a great way that Napoleon was portrayed, it was Napoleon. It was Waterloo. Well, it was a great way. It is one of my wonderful parts of that movie is at the end when the Prussians come to save the day. General, oh my God, it is Blucher. Blucher. It was Field Marshal Blucher shows up, and when he stood with the Prussians, he was actually called Field Marshal Vorwärts, which means, of course, forward in German. And he would call his soldiers. He was a very older gentleman compared to many of them. He would call them his children. That's what he would call his soldiers. He would say, "My children, Vorwärts, my children, meine Kinder." He would say, "Vorwärts, meine Kinder." He would say that for when he would attack. And he would lead the assaults himself often. And he was like 60 or 70. He would lead the assaults himself. So anyway, I'm going to go off on this whole history thing. You guys know I love my history. So Blucher is there, and he tells his children, he says, "My children, no pity. I will shoot the man that I see if I see pity in his eyes." He literally says that. He's going to shoot his own men if you've got pity in his eyes. And when they yells that Blucher is in the woods, Napoleon says, "I should have burned Berlin." He's mad now. He wished he had burned Berlin. Anyway, I'm sorry. Yes, Chris, it was a great movie. I enjoyed it tremendously. It's from the 70s. So it's a 50-year-old movie. It's the second piece. I love this part. When Napoleon comes back from Elba, he comes back and he's got his personal guard and his units that are coming with him. And they meet the French army, which is actually commanded by Ney, Field Marshal Ney, who is supporting the new king. I think King Louis XVIII. I think that's right. I think 18th. I forgot which one. I think 18th. Anyway, or maybe 17th. Anyway, one of the kings, whatever the French king was. And so they're ready to meet each other. Napoleon's utterly outgunned. It's not even close. He's utterly outgunned. No way can win this battle. Walks up to the people, to the French army, and says, "You want to shoot your emperor? Here I am. I'm your emperor. Shoot." They don't shoot him. He takes over the entire army and then takes over France. Just brilliantly. They show Napoleon being amazingly good in that movie. Now, I'm sure Napoleon was good at what he did. But to Roy's point, not the best guy for democracy. Very true, Roy. Anyway, you guys got me going on that. So Daniel says, SCOTUS gave him authority. Look, yes, but, Daniel, yes, but, you're correct. Trump is in the best position he could possibly be in. And again, if you don't like Trump, I know that makes you unhappy, but he absolutely is. Already been impeached, so not even scared of that. His party controls the Congress and the SCOTUS, so the odds of being impeached again are zero. He's not being impeached again. And the SCOTUS said basically, as long as you're doing presidential stuff, you're good. You're basically a king. As long as you just do presidential stuff, you'll be fine. So he's basically a king, and he has a mandate. Some of you get mad. He doesn't have a mandate. He has a mandate. Again, it's obvious. Just look at what's happening. He has a mandate. And the Democrats are utterly in disarray. The Democrats were not ready for this at all. It is so obvious they were not ready. They have nothing they can do. They're not prepared at all for this. So he's in the best spot he could possibly. You're right, Daniel. The SCOTUS gave him that. It's true. And his position and his mandate. Yeah. And he's fearless. So, and Democrats are in total disarray. Democrats do not know what they're doing. They are in utter disarray. Hakeem Jeffries said it. He's like, I don't know. He literally said, I don't even know what we have any leverage. He's like, we're done. We're cooked. He's like, done. I completely agree. So, yes. All right. I do appreciate that. Ron says, I don't think there's been rule of law for a long time now. I'm not ready to fight you. Yeah. Daniel says, gee, quoting a guy who made himself an emperor, what could go wrong? And yes, it was quote from Napoleon. Yeah, that's my point. Yes. That was the point. Yeah, absolutely. So, all righty. Bonnie says, listening to the job talk, it's the same for getting grants. Yes, Bonnie, it's the influential writing is very similar. Very good point. The influential writing is very similar. I would agree. Yes. Andrea says, shoplifting hurts those in the area when the store closes. Yes. Andrea, it only hurts local people. It only hurts local people, but it feels like it's okay. That's my point. It is emotional, and it allows people to validate bad behavior. 100% true. Yes, 100%. Daniel goes on to say, it's funny and in a sad sort of way that the voting public thought billionaires actually cared about the common folk. I disagree with that, Daniel. Let me hear me out before you get mad at me. Hear me out on this. They thought the Democratic Party didn't care at all, and they rolled the dice on a guy who said he did, and they didn't care if they did. They knew the opposite didn't. For many people, they aren't openly supporting Trump. They're just like, well, let's just see what happens. I know this side's not doing it. They've proven they're not doing it. They don't care. Maybe he does. And if he doesn't, is it worse than this guy? Now, there are some people who love Trump and think he's the greatest guy in the world and are happy with him 100%. But if you look at a lot of Americans, they don't love Trump. Some of them still don't like him. Half the Republican establishment doesn't like him still, at least, if not more. They don't like him. But they'll be like, all right, better than what we were looking at, and maybe it'll be okay. I'm gonna say nothing and just watch. I'm gonna see what happens. It can't be worse. And I wish that wasn't true, but I do think that. I don't think they actually. I think most Americans did not think he cared. Most were like, all right, okay. Kitty says economic injustice is the issue right now. Yes, see, you get it, Kitty. You get it. There are so many people who are worried about literally their bills next month. They're worried. There's so many who just like, is it going to be all right? Or they're one step away from being in a really bad spot. I mean, hundreds of millions of Americans, maybe hundreds. Yeah, hundreds of millions of Americans are in that spot right now. And then there's a small chunk who are like, I don't care if I ever work ever again. I got a ton of money. I'm not going to do anything. It doesn't matter. Just doesn't matter what happens. I am good. It does not matter. Right? I spoke this before. The idea is of people who have family offices, right? They have so much money that they have to hire a group of people to manage their money. That's how much money they have, Kitty. So much money, they have to pay people to handle their money because they got so much of it. That's called a family office. Some people know that, some people don't. It's a big way people go there to get money. Grant money that someone was just talking about, right? Bonnie was just talking about. Some people get grants out of family offices. Some do. Some is government's grant, but some is a grant from a family office. Could be that too. Yes, they're looking for cash. Think about that. Can you imagine? You have so much money. You can't manage it. There's just too much money coming in. I don't know how to do it all. I got so much of it. So I need to hire people. Who's going to give my money away when I'm going to give my money away? Who's going to donate it to this? Who's going to put it into this? Who's going to send for that? Who's going to pay this person? Who's going to buy all my houses? Who's going to pay all my rents? Who's going to pay all my mortgages? Who's going to buy my new house? Right? Who's going to keep track of all the apartment buildings I own? Who's going to keep track of all the all the massive business I've invested in? Who's going to take care of my artwork? I'm not joking. Who's going to cover my art collection? I got to hire people for that. I have so much money. Yes. And then on the opposite side, people who are like, am I going to pay my rent this month? I hope I can pay my rent this month. I hope so. And another guy who's like, I hope I don't miss a payment on my 45 apartment buildings I own. So, yeah. Any case. All right, I'm grabbing some more of these. Phil says, thank you for $2. USSF training, Mexican Army, classic SF mission. Oh, there we go. I like that. Ryan says, Dems are fractured and clueless. Absolutely true. They are broken. Ryan, thank you for $2. They are broken. Ryan goes on to ask, Trump cracked me up when he put Caitlin Collins on CNN in her place. She asked the question, and he told her, that's not her turn to talk yet. He doesn't care. Like this is a piece that I think the mainstream media is starting to get. Started. They're not there yet, but Ryan, I think they're like they're getting the clue. They don't matter. Like people like Caitlin Collins, she thinks, well, I'm a journalist, so I'm important. No, you're not. I don't mean to be mean. I'm being forward. She's not. No one cares what Caitlin Collins thinks. I don't mean to be mean. Again, I'm just being forward. She's just someone who can read a teleprompter. That doesn't make you smart. That doesn't make you important or valid. You're someone who can read a teleprompter. And she does it well. I mean, she's good at that. She's good at sitting in front of a teleprompter and reading it. She's good at it. It's true. but it doesn't make her valid. Look at how the fall from grace of Don Lemon, who he thought he was important because he was on CNN. Nobody cares what he thinks. Nobody cares what he thinks. Nobody cares what Caitlin Collins thinks. More people care what I think, and I'm some YouTube dude. And more people care what I think than what she thinks. Now more people watch her because she's on CNN. If I was on CNN, if I was on CNN, I would triple her views within 7 days. I'd probably multiply by 100 within a year, but I'd triple within 7 days because more people care what I think than what she thinks. They're starting to get it. Like, they're like, wait a minute. Like, people don't pay attention to us. People can tell me to shut up. Yeah. Remember, Trump threw the threw AP out, which I didn't like that. I like AP. I think AP is, to Voss's point, AP tends to be accurate in their data, not always in their reporting, but they tend to be accurate in their data. So I don't like them getting rid of AP. But to your point, Ryan, puts them in their place. No one cares if AP doesn't get it. They don't. So yes. Speaking of Mike, he goes on to say DNC chair is the one angry at the bad beta. That's right, just the bad ones, Mike. And in case you didn't know who the good ones and the bad ones are, I think you know who they are, but I'm just gonna let you know, just in case you were kind of worried. The ones who donate to Democrats, those are the good ones. The ones that donate to Republicans, those are the bad ones. That's how you know. If you're wondering, is this a good Democrat? And is this a good billionaire? Who does he donate to? He donates to Democrats. He's a good one. That's the definition. I think you knew that, but just in case you were confused, because I care about you, brother. That's all. So yes. All righty. Jin says, Larry, who do you predict will be the 5 greatest powers in the year 2100? That is 75 years from now. Wow. I am going to give you some, I don't know, I won't be around. So for me, 75 years, unless something really special happens, I'm not going to be here. So I can do whatever I want, and no one's going to, you can't hold me, for this one, because I don't think I'll be here. I think the sleeper that will be in power in 2100, believe it or not, is India. India has enough of a talent pool, enough of a cultural mixture of East with West, particularly with the British Empire. It is connected to America in many ways, culturally, physically, in many ways, many people going back and forth. I think India is the next power. If there is one, it'll be India. After that, it might be Brazil. Those two. The rest aren't going to go anyplace else. Those are the two that might grow. South Africa's not going to grow any place. Saudi Arabia and those places, they're not going to grow. Their systems are too broken. Those two countries I would look at as growth. I think India is the sleeper. I do. I think they're the ones who are going to be the ones who pop to the top after China begins to flutter. China is going to go into stagnation. China's not going to keep growing. China is going to follow the Japanese model. It's going to grow into stagnation. It will grow into stagnation because of centralized control and broken culture. So broken society, not culture, sorry, broken society. So China will go with the next 20 years, China will go the way of Japan, which is permanent stagnation. Germany will also go into permanent stagnation. That country is in a permanent stagnation. So Germany will go into permanent stagnation. China will go into permanent stagnation. And Japan's already there. India will not. And that's why India will grow. The question is, will Brazil go into permanent stagnation? The problem with Brazil is starting to go heavily left. If it goes heavily left, it will go into stagnation. Because that's what happens. I know you lefties get mad when I say that, but it's still true. So if Brazil goes left, it will go into stagnation. If it doesn't, it will grow first. It'll explode like China did and like Japan did in a stagnation, just like both of them did. If it stays middle of the road or more libertarian style, it will explode. I think India will, because India is also grossly diverse, which is another big advantage, right? I think India is the sleeper. So I hope I answered your question. Germany stagnation, China stagnation, Japan stagnation, Brazil maybe, India will explode. America has a chance here right now to avoid stagnation. We are on our way to stagnation too. You see it already. We're on our way. We're on our way. If Malay is successful in Argentina, there will be a libertarian push in America because it's opening up conceptually already. Trump's not libertarian, but there will be a libertarian push. if Malay is successful. If he's successful, there'll be a libertarian push in America, and that will re-energize America. America needs a libertarian revolution like there's no tomorrow. It requires it. It has to have it. If it doesn't, America will also fall into stagnation. Just how it works. I hope that was helpful for you. So I do think that that's where my head is. All right. Let me keep going down here. I know it's a weird question to ask, but yeah. Okay. Andrea goes on to say, I think the DNC is digging in so hard that the party may never get out of the hole. That is my concern for them. And you might go, Larry, but why would you want the Democratic Party to come out of a hole? Because I want competition? Because competition is good? Now, I wish there was a Libertarian Party competition. That would be amazing, but that's okay. I am a Libertarian. I love my Libertarians. I wish Libertarian Party was competition. It isn't. I'm just being forward. I wish it was. If I could have that as competition, I would prefer that to be competition. Andrea, of course, I would prefer that. But that's not going to happen right now. I wish it would. So I'd rather have a better Democratic Party to have competition. I do want competition. I think competition does make us better. I believe that in my heart, even if I disagree with the people, right, who are doing it. I would rather have competition of people I disagree with than no competition. So that is why I think you're right, and it worries me. I don't like that idea, Andrea. I don't want it to be no competition. It's not the right answer. It's the wrong. We want competition. So yes. Alrighty. If I can go down and get some more. All right. Shelly goes on to say, shoplifting raises the price of goods. Yes, if you shoplift, it's not all of a sudden Elon Musk goes, now I'm not getting my salary. That's not what happens. Jeff Bezos doesn't go, man, now I can't buy my house. Why? That damn Phil shoplifted. Now I'm taking a pay cut. That doesn't happen. They still get their money. That's it. So it doesn't change. You're totally correct. The person somehow in their mind validates that they're attacking the big guy by stealing from them or something. So no. So over on Instagram, Jeff says, have you taken the Myers-Briggs personality test? If so, what type are you? And what are your thoughts on the test versus Big Five? Generally speaking, I like personality tests in general. I like them, but not for what people use them for. The problem is, and I've used them in my practice in the past many times, the value of a personality test is not what people use them when they go, oh, see, I'm an INTF, whatever the thing is, right? Oh, see, that's why I do X or Y. They use them, sadly, as a crutch, generally speaking. See, you have to talk to me this way because I'm a this or whatever. And that's insanely stupid and means nothing and just makes things worse, puts people in boxes. Terrible idea. But the most common way of them being used, which is why most of the time people use them badly, which is why most of these consultants are garbage and suck and make me look bad, which I don't talk about it because most of my competition is utter garbage, terrible. Most business coaches are terrible. Most are frauds. Most are a colossal waste of money. Most DEI training is garbage. Most diverse training is garbage. Most people in my field are absolute utter garbage. I hate to say it, it's just true. Most therapists are garbage. Most coaches are garbage. Colossal waste of money. The vast majority of them are. And I say it to their face, I say all the time, I'm not a member of any of those associations. I'm not a member of the International Coaching Federation, the International, none of those things. None of them. Because most people there are absolute garbage and terrible and incompetent and a colossal waste of time, money, and energy. So, should you use them? But yes, you should. And here's why you should use them. The goal of using personality tests is in a group so that people can see different personalities, and it reinforces the most important concept of humanity, which is empathy. It's the number one part of being human is empathy. And when I see that other people aren't my personality, it increases the value of my empathy. That's why they're important. So that I go, oh, Ron is not that. Yeah, he's introverted more than I am. I'm more extroverted. Oh, Sarah's extroverted, but she's more judging than I than. Oh, yeah, okay. That makes now what happens is my empathy explodes. And I recognize just because I think a certain way, maybe Sarah doesn't. Not that she's wrong or right. She's just different. Ron, not that he's wrong or right. He's different. Using personality tests to make that happen, very valuable. It's the second scam where you do personality tests, which no one else does that I know. I've only heard myself doing it. You can change someone's personality test results by what you speak about. So literally, I can talk to you, give you a personality test, talk to you again, give you the same personality test or another one like it, and get the different result. Why? Because I prep your brain, right? So it's almost like I prep who you are. Here's the reason why. Most people, sadly, are different in different environments. So you might be much more outgoing, much more controlling, maybe in your household, but not at your job or the reverse. In the perfect world, if you want to check your teamwork, how well your team is working, most of the people, when I have conversation with them and they take 2 separate tests, should come up exactly the same way in both tests. If they do, you have the best of both worlds. In the best world, in your utopian world, and you work, you actually have 2 families. You have your family at home and your work family. That's the perfect world. Very rare people get that. But if that's true, you become the same person and the same personality at home and at work. That's now you're very lucky and blessed if you have that. You want to have it that way if at all possible. That's how you should use Myers-Briggs test, personality tests in a professional environment. That's how you should use them. I hope I answered your question. So, all right. I know I always have different ideas on these things. I know it's kind of weird. Some of you are like, Larry, why do you think this stuff? Because I played through this already. I've done this. Like I've done this. I've played all the games. So yes. All righty. So this has become an AMA. I didn't mean it to be one. This is my fault, isn't it? I probably should have let it become an AMA, but I just enjoyed it. I thought it was some good stuff. I just thought it was some good stuff. I thought you guys might enjoy it. I'm trying to keep you guys heading into a show yesterday, and this was late, so I wanted to be good on this one also. That's what I was hoping. So, yes. All righty. Let me see if I can grab a couple of these. Before I go there, hold on. Before I go there, guys, do me a favor. Click the button known as like. It does matter. Share, repost this. Subscribe if you haven't already. Click all notifications when you subscribe on YouTube. Make sure you also follow me on all X, Rumble, all those things. I appreciate all the super chats and the rants. Please keep going. Every one of these things does count. Absolutely it does. So, yeah. All right. Let me see if I can grab some of these. It seems as though some people, Minor Threat says, agree, Ray coaches. Yeah, most are terrible. Not all of them are, but most are. It's true. So I would always ask you, if you're looking for a coach or a trainer or something like that, here's the most important thing. Does someone who you respect, have they had success with that coach? That is why people say, why should I hire you? Here's the answer why you should hire me. Because someone you respect told you they had success with me. That's the reason. If you don't have that, you shouldn't hire me. Why would you? Someone you respect had success with me. That's the reason. If that's not true, you should hire me. That's what I tell people all the time. Well, you work with so-and-so. I did. What's that person? Okay, then let's get going. What are you doing? That's what I just said. If you don't respect them, don't hire me. Oh, if they didn't have success, don't hire me. Done. And people have given me, if you guys look on my LinkedIn profile, I've got like 100 recommendations for a being coach. I don't know how many. I didn't ask people. They just put them on. It's crazy. So yeah. And if you respect any of those people, you should hire me. If not, don't. I get it. I get it. You should spend your money wisely. You should spend your money wisely. That's it. So yes. All right. Rick is an IN. Oh, I didn't answer that question. I'm an ENT. I go between ENTJ and ENT. Is it F? What's the one with J? Judging and feeling, right? T and F. Is that right? So I'm ENT. I go between ENTJ and ENTF. I go between those two, back and forth. That's what I'm an ENT. I remember that. And the two I mix depending upon when I take it, how I take it, the test, how I feel when I take it. I pop in those two. I'm right in the border of those two. So anyway, there we go. All right. Minor Threat says, go see a seasoned shrink schooled in scoring of Rorschach more than Myers-Briggs. Here's the piece when it comes to people who don't know about therapists. What many people don't know is getting a degree is not enough when it comes to being a therapist. You want someone who's constantly being trained. That's the key. Constantly being trained. You can keep being trained for a long time as a therapist. You can constantly do it. So yes, absolutely. You can just keep doing it, keep doing it, keep doing it. So yes. All right, guys. I do want to say thank you for the night. I'm gonna probably go quick. It's been over 2 hours, and I came in late. Thank you for staying with me for so damn long. You guys are the best. I appreciate it. I will be on tomorrow at 1 p.m. my radio show. You can call in. It'll be live if you want to call in. I will also be on tomorrow again. I hope around 7 p.m. Maybe 8, but I'm trying to do 7 p.m. tomorrow if I can. Also, I'm gonna try my best. My case ended last week. My youngest daughter is not bugging me as much anymore, so that's good. So yes. Oh, hold on. Someone just texted. Oh, yeah. My daughter must be watching because she just texted me. I got a beep here. She just told me I am an ENFP/ENFJ. That is what I am. Sorry, that's what I am. So yeah, there we go. So thank you for that. My daughter's watching. There we go. So yeah, so I have some more time. I'll be working on it tonight. I'm gonna try to do a bunch of them if I can. I appreciate it, you guys, all you watching. Do me a favor, if you would, put in the chat once we're done. Once this is over, please put in what personality you are. If you've done the Myers-Briggs, what personality you are, and I will comment. I will see you all very soon.